This is episode 88 of Pausing in the Prophets, and today we are looking at Isaiah 10, verses 24 through 27. And Isaiah writes, "Therefore thus says the Lord God of hosts, O my people who dwell in Zion, do not fear the Assyrian who strikes you with the rod and lifts up his staff against you the way Egypt did. For in a very little while my indignation against you will be spent, and my anger will be directed to their destruction. The Lord of hosts will arouse a scourge against him like the slaughter of Midian at the rock of Oreb. And his staff will be over the sea, and he will lift it up the way he did in Egypt. So it will be in that day that his burden will be removed from your shoulders, and his yoke from your neck, and the yoke will be broken because of fatness." We talked last time about God identifying with his people. And here he starts out with the same theme, "Oh, my people." And then it's a message of hope this time. Don't fear. It's not that the Assyrian threat is just a threat. Assyria does strike with rod and staff. But God's judgment will be fulfilled on Israel and then turn to Assyria, as we saw a couple of weeks back. And he compares Assyria to Egypt. And his deliverance of Israel from Assyria will be like his deliverance of the nation from Egypt. The burdens will be removed and the yoke will be broken. And we are reminded here that this is God's way. From Egypt to Assyria, which we'll see, to eventually Babylon, and ultimately to our real enemy, sin and death. God removes the burden and yoke from upon his people. And then Jesus comes and pleads for his people to take on a different yoke and burden. His. He says in Matthew 11:29 through 30, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light," Jesus says. The question then becomes, who will we serve and depend upon? For we will serve and depend upon somebody. The nations and their power and money and sin, or Jesus, whose yoke is easy and whose burden is light.